There was a time when a single income could support an entire family, a modest home. It was never perfect, but it was manageable. Then something slowly began to change. Prices started rising. First, it was barely noticeable. A small increase here, a slightly higher bill there. Most people ignored it, almost invisible. But over time, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Food became more expensive. Transportation, healthcare, education. Everything seemed to cost more, and yet wages never seemed to catch up. People worked the same hours, but the money never stretched as far as it used to. Many believed the reason was simple: inflation. A word that appears in news headlines, economic reports, and government speeches. Inflation is often described as a natural part of the economy. Prices rise as economies grow, production changes, but the full story is rarely explained, because inflation is not just a statistic. It is a silent force that reshapes the entire financial landscape. Every time prices rise, the value of money slowly changes. Savings lose a small portion of their power, year after year, quietly. Currency that once bought 10 items may now buy 8. Later it buys 6, and eventually, even less. The change happens slowly enough that most people adapt without noticing. They adjust their spending. They cut small expenses. They work a little more. They accept the new reality. But behind this slow transformation, another dynamic is unfolding. Not everyone experiences inflation the same way. For people who rely entirely on wages, rising prices create pressure. Every expense becomes heavier. Rent, life becomes more expensive while income struggles to keep pace. But for those who own assets, the story often looks different. When prices rise, assets tend to rise as well. Property values climb, stocks grow, investments expand. What appears to be economic pressure for one group can become opportunity for another, and over long periods of time, this difference compounds, slowly widening the gap between those who work for money and those whose money works for them. This process rarely feels dramatic. There are no sudden explosions, no instant collapse. It's just a quiet shift in economic gravity year after year, decade after decade. Money changes shape. The cost of living moves upward, and the structure of wealth slowly rearranges itself. Most people believe rising prices are simply the result of supply and demand. Sometimes they are. But sometimes the forces behind inflation are more complex. Monetary expansion, debt cycles, financial policy. All of these forces influence the value of money over time. Yet these mechanisms remain invisible to most people because they operate far above everyday life. Hidden in financial systems most workers never see. Meanwhile, the effects appear everywhere. At the grocery store, in rent payments, in monthly bills, in the quiet anxiety people feel when their paycheck arrives, and somehow, it never feels like quite enough. The system continues moving, prices rise. Wages struggle to keep up. Savings slowly lose power. The cycle repeats again. Not through sudden shocks, but through quiet adjustments. The kind that reshape entire economies while most people are simply trying to keep up. Because in the modern financial world, the most powerful changes rarely happen loudly. They happen slowly, quietly, and almost invisibly.